Hello, it is Zach with a podcast named Tim here with another Star Wars book review. We're going back into Legends. Today we're going to be doing Star Wars The Courtship of Princess Leia by Dave Wolverton. Great name. And before we get into the review, please, of course, do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the wonderful content that we're putting on the channel. The Courtship of Princess Leia. Is it good? It's different. I know a lot of people probably really enjoy Legends books. I have read a few Legends books, but I think I have probably read more of the Disney canon than Legends. And I think one of the issues I always have when going back into that Legends mindset is a lot of these, especially things like this, and from 1994, it's such an early time for the expanded universe that things are just different. Characters are presented differently, and they just sometimes act differently than you would expect. And I think it's one of the biggest weaknesses of this book. It's not my favorite Legends book by any stretch of the imagination. It has some interesting ideas. I think I would have liked to see some of it broken up into two different books, because I think there's two decent ideas. I just don't know if I'd want them together. This is a notable book because it does have the introduction of Dathomir, which of course would go on to, and the Dathomir witches, which of course would go on to be very prevalent in Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and I love them there. Obviously, that was my introduction to those, to that world, and then those characters. So maybe my opinions on it are somewhat tinted from that mindset, because whatever you're introduced to first, you're typically going to like that more. But basically, the main story here is Leia and Han. I should say Leia is going to get married, or is proposed to. She is offered engagement from Soldier, I guess I say his name. He is from the Happies, that's how I'm going to say it, HAPES, system, which apparently is a system outside of the Republic and outside of the Empire. It's a bunch of like 30-something planets that super technology, and they have their own complete culture. And basically, in order to form an alliance with the Republic, he offers to marry her. He says he loves her. He met her one time when she was touring out there, and she considers it. And of course, remember, this is right after Return of the Jedi, so we have had this arc that we have seen Leia and Han go on, this beautiful love story that we've seen them engage in throughout the series, throughout the movies. And Han does not take too kindly to her considering this engagement, so he kidnaps her. He kidnaps her, and he basically wins the planet Dathomir, deed to the planet, in a game of Sabacc. And he kidnaps her, and he's going to take her to his planet. The issue is that this planet is controlled by there's an Imperial warlord. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Lots of Z's and S's and J's and I's, because that's how we make things sci-fi, is with Z's and S's and J's in weird places. But there's a warlord out there, and it's in his kind of sector where he's controlling. But Han thinks he can sneak by and show Leia the planet, and basically he makes a deal with her, says, give me a couple days to win you over, and she begrudgingly agrees. Meanwhile, Luke is out on searching for more information about the Jedi of old, and of course he finds out that there was a ship that once crash landed, and of course there's a bunch of records on this planet. It happens to have crash landed on Dathomir, so we're all going to be going to the same planet. Of course, Leia's potential new husband-to-be, who she plays, I don't know. My issue with a lot of these Legends that I run into is the way they write Leia. I don't think they ever get her right, so far at least. She is very, I don't want to say helpless in this, but very much like torn between the two of them, and it didn't make a lot of sense as far as her being swept away on her feet because this new man just happened to be there. Um, it happened too quickly. I think if you would have had two different books, one focused, and I'll get into more of the actual story, but one that focused on Leia and her actual courtship with this guy, where she goes and visits the system, and we learn more about the system, and they do a tour, and you slowly see her fall for him. Like she goes just as a courtesy, and then she falls for him. Maybe it would have worked, but it just was so immediate where she was like, "Oh yeah, I can marry him," and you're like, in your mind, you're like, "You and Han, we saw an Empire. I love you, I know," and then all of that in Return of the Jedi, where she went and saved him, and it's someone who loves you who is saving him, and so just the immediate ripping apart of that love story for no reason, just for one book, for it to be fixed at the end, felt wrong. From a character perspective, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy Leia falling for this guy so quickly, and Han. I bought Han being jealous because he is, obviously. I didn't buy him kidnapping her in order to prove that he loved her. But when they're on the planet of Dathomir, we run into the Night Witches, which have different clans. There are knights. There are traditional Night Sisters, I guess, in the sense of what you would expect from the TV show The Clone Wars, where they're dark side and they use their magic for evil. And then there's other witches of Dathomir, which are not evil, but they are one of the things that is unique about this planet is they have to speak like certain incantations in order to use the Force, essentially. And both the Dathomir witches and the Happies system are very matriarchal societies dominated by women, and to the point where men are just nothing. They have no say whatsoever. So there's kind of a shared idea of how the world should work from both of these systems. I should say the witches ride rancors, as you can see right here on the cover. They ride them. They have tamed them, and they use them saddle them and use them as beasts. But we do find out that the Night Sisters, the main ones, are working with the Imperials in some respects, although it's a very touch-and-go relationship. They are stuck on the planet, and the Imperials are refusing to give them transport. So they're kind of working together. But that's the main general overview of what the story is about. Of course, at the end of the book, pretty much all is right. Our main crew is back where they need to be. Luke finds, the Jedi information and archive books upon books that he wants, and Han and Leia are back together. The man that wanted to marry Leia falls in love with one of the witches, and they decide to go get married. And yeah, it's just, I think the biggest issue, if you want to get into this book, you're going to have to set aside your preconceived notions from not just from Disney canon, but from the movies directly, as far as the relationship for Han and Leia. And I think that was the biggest leap that concerned me, is I just didn't buy Leia would not be in love with Han and would immediately fall for this other guy, or just I didn't buy any of that whatsoever, and so that hindered my enjoyment of the book. That's pretty much the general overview of the book. I would not recommend this for reading unless you're running out of things to read in the Star Wars universe. I think this one, to me, is skippable. I'm sure maybe some of these characters and people are introduced further down the line, or maybe have other ramifications in the greater universe. I don't know yet, but it does seem like the witch, if she has a kid, I think that Luke offered to train her and some of her other people. So maybe some of them will become members of his Jedi Order that he begins to form. So that's the Courtship of Princess Leia. Not great. I'm going to be doing Jedi Dark Apprentice, Jedi whatever the second of the trilogy is. I think it's called Dark Apprentice. I'm going to be doing that next as far as Legends, but right now I am almost done with the newest High Republic book by by Mr. Scott, and I don't remember what it's called, like Into the Light, maybe? No, that's the original one. I'm pulling it up right now. You probably know it. Star Wars High Republic. It is entitled The Rising Storm. I am literally almost done with that, so that will be coming very soon. But that's my thoughts on Star Wars Courtship of Princess Leia. Again, please do like the video, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you next time here on a podcast named Tim.